the time, it's not the young brother living in poverty in the projects. No, these be the youngsters that live in the suburbs whose families have deep six-figure incomes. Mama make 300,000, daddy make $500,000 a year, but he is so devoid of an identity.
And he trying to portray something that he ain't never been, don't have no concept of.
Well, see, he living not in a 5,000 square foot house in Pearland.
Right.
But when he goes around his peers and they ask him, where you from? He don't want to claim Pearland.
Yeah.
So what does he do? He said, I'm from Fifth Ward. Because that's where his granny lived.
Right.
That's where his mom and his daddy grew up. Because he building his identity. And because his mama and his daddy still together, and his life don't look like NBA young boys, he is ashamed of the fact.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what I know. He's ashamed of the fact that he lives in a two-parent household.
Right.
He's ashamed of the fact that his family got 3-4 cars. Why? Because they'll always be able to accuse him of not getting it out the mud. Oh, you had this handed to you.
Right.
So these are some of the really peculiar dynamics that I'm finding in these cases.
There you have it, folks. But now it's time for us to have that tough conversation. Is why do we, as black folks, why do we glorify struggle? Why do we glorify that lifestyle that, I guess one of the reasons why is because everybody loves that underdog story, that whole started from the bottom, now we here type of thing. But it's really nothing to be proud of, especially when you see younger black men and women who grew up in better situations than their parents. But then they go to the hood, go to the projects or whatever, and then they're like, oh, we don't claim you. It's like, yes, you might be black, you might be African American, but you're not one of us because you didn't grow up in the same hood as us. You didn't grow up in the same conditions as us. And I've heard somebody else say this, is that you have some people who were raised off of love, and then you have some people raised off of survival. But yeah, in some hoods in the black community, that's considered shameful because don't nobody want to be known as Papa Doc from 8 Mile. Clarence lives at home with both parents, and Clarence's parents have a real good marriage. Like, what is so bad about coming from a black household and then you have a family that's stable or a family that's not dysfunctional, where you didn't grow up, with fighting and cussing and mom on drugs, dad in and out of prison. And the thing is, like I said, I grew up with both parents. And the thing is, you know how many people who I grew up with, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, I told them where I come from. They know my mom, know my dad, know family I come from. Do you know how many people said, man, you're lucky. I wish I could be you. My dad's been in prison for 15, 20 years, and my mom worked 2 or 3 jobs. I barely get to see either of them. And here's the problem. The problem is, once you live in that kind of environment, and I will say this to the day I die, is people who grew up in 2-parent households get to be kids longer, or get to be, younger longer than somebody who did not grow up in a 2-parent household, because, he or she might have, grown up in a single-parent household, and they might have had 2 or 3 younger brothers that they had to take care of. It's like they 12 years old, and then their younger brothers are 6, brothers and sisters are 6 and 2. And it's like, oh man, I got to be a man quicker now. I got to be a woman quicker now. Now I got to be an adult now because my mom is out providing, my dad's not here, and I'm the only one that my brothers and sisters look up to. And while the college education system is kind of broken now, and having a degree doesn't mean the same thing that it used to a couple of decades ago, still, having a college degree doesn't get you the same respect as if you just did a 10, 15, 20-year prison bid. And a lot of people who grew up in that environment, they will criticize you. Well, if they're still asleep, they will. They're like, oh man, you ain't got no stripes in the streets. You don't get the same respect in the hood. And it's like, why would you want that? Especially if you got kids. Like, isn't that like, oh, well, you don't get respect in the hood because you didn't stay there. That's the number one thing people will say is like, oh, you forgot where you came from. I didn't forget where I came from. I'm just not going back. And pardon my French, But isn't that the goal? Hasn't that always been the goal, to make it out of the hood, to make it out of the streets, to make it out of poverty, just so we can show our kids and grandkids that that's not the way? And I'm in my mid-30s now. I really could care less about having street cred or worrying about what somebody think about me, if they think some dude in the streets who really could give a damn about me think I'm soft or not. What I care about is getting home safe to my family. Shouldn't that be what matters the most? Like, don't y'all have something to lose by now? And whether you think I'm the toughest, hardest street dude ever, or whether you think that I'm marshmallow soft, if I get pulled over by the police at 11 o'clock at night and just me in the car, do you think that I'm not going to face the same struggle as you? If I get pulled over by the police, all they're going to see is a black man. They're not going to care if I live in a nice suburban neighborhood where people be walking their dogs. They're not going to care that I grew up in a two-parent household or went to a high school or went to a college with the best education. They're not going to care. All they're going to see is this. But yeah, we got to improve and we got to make the next generation better. And just remember that it starts with us.